Hi there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. In this lesson, we'll be revising some questions with respect to test 1, MA110. So, we can try to remind ourselves of what we already learned, even as we are trying to prepare for the paper tomorrow. So, there's a question there where it says, factorize x power 3 plus x squared minus 10x plus 8. So the first part here we are saying we have to factorize this polynomial and then hence find the range of values for x for which this should be satisfied, for which that should be satisfied. So what is the concept there? Number one, you need to know how to factorize polynomials. So factorizing polynomials, we are getting it from the understanding of, or from the knowledge of, the rational root theorem. So we shall use the rational root theorem. The rational root theorem and also the concept of polynomial division. Polynomial, how do you say polynomial? Polynomial division. So these are the two concepts we're going to use in factorizing our polynomial expression. So remember, what does the rational root theorem state? What does the rational root theorem state? What does the rational root theorem state? This states that if x minus c is a factor of the polynomial p of x, then p of c should be equal to 0. So what do we have? We have a factor of which we can say this is x minus c, a certain function we are going to be given by the expression x minus c. This is a factor of the polynomial p of x. This can only be a factor of the polynomial p of x if, when we evaluate for x in this expression, we have the value of c. So when we set that c in this polynomial, the answer should give us a 0. That's the only way we can say that this is a factor of a given polynomial. That's what we say under rational theorem. So if we evaluate p of x when x is equal to c, then it does not give us a 0, then that means that it is not a factor of that polynomial. So to factorize this, we will be able to embrace this theorem so that we can break it down to something which is simplified. So now, first thing is, what is our polynomial given? Our polynomial given in this case is x power 3 plus x squared minus 10x plus 8. This is the polynomial given to us. So if this is the polynomial given to us, then how do I break it down to be factorized? We will do a trial and error to look for a certain value of c which can make the p of c to be equal to 0. So the values of c will be a trial and error values we are going to insert in here. So these values are coming from the coefficient of the leading term and the last term. So factors which can go in the first coefficient and the constant value. So those factors, the values we can try to talk about here is, we shall try values of c where p of c should be equal to 0. So these c values can be equal to positive or negative 1. So in short, we're talking about the factors of 1. So numbers which can go into 1 without leaving any remainder is 1. So it means it's positive or negative 1. At the same time, we're talking about the factors of 8. Numbers which can go into 8 can be 1 itself, which is already here. 2 can go into 8. What else? 3 can go into 8. 4 can go into 8. And 8 itself. So it means the possible factor we're going to try and like will be positive or negative 1, positive or negative 2, positive or negative 4, positive or negative 8. These will be the factors of C, or maybe the values of C we are going to use to do a trial and error to check which value among these is going to give us a P of C to be equal to 0. So we're looking for the value of C. When inserted in the polynomial, the answer will be 0. That's what we are going to use to break this polynomial expression. So the first value we're going to pick, let's try to pick positive 1. If positive 1 is inserted in here and the function gives us a 0, then it will help us to break this polynomial. So if we say we try x equals to positive 1. So when you say P of 1, what am I going to have? I'm going to have upper the x to have a couple 1. This will be 1 power 3 plus 1 squared minus 10 multiplied by 1 plus 8. So this becomes a 1 there plus 1 there minus 10 there plus 8 there. And this becomes 2 plus 8, that's 10. 10 minus 10, that's 0. So what are we having? When we pick x equal to 1, we have the P of 1 to be equal to 0. So according to the rational root theorem, this implies that when 1 goes to the other side, it becomes x minus 1. So this becomes x. This means that x minus 1 is a factor of P of x, which is equals to what? The P of x, the polynomial we had was x power 3 plus x squared minus 10x plus 8. So it means since 1 inserted in the polynomial given, we have a 0. It means that x minus 1 is a factor. So remember it was x equal to positive 1. So the factor becomes x minus 1 because we're taking 1 back where x is. So it becomes, when it crosses the equal sign here, it becomes x minus 1 equal to 0. So x minus 1 is now a factor of P of x. So in factorizing this polynomial P of x, x minus 1 will be one of the factors we are going to have. So in this case, the rational root theorem was there to use we use it to break the polynomial to be a simplified expression. So now what do we do now? We divide the polynomial by the factor. So we're going to divide now. So we're going to divide. This time around we're going to divide. We shall divide the polynomial P of x divided by the factor we have to help us factorize it. So what is the polynomial which we had? The polynomial is x power 3 plus x squared minus 10x plus 18. This should be divided by x minus 1. So it doesn't matter whatever expression you can use, whatever formula you are going to use, or what is the method. You can either use synthetic division, or you can either use long division to break down this and divide. So the division here is helping us to break it down to other factors. Remember, when this goes into the expression, we'll have a certain coefficient which is going to be formed, and that coefficient can also be a factor of this polynomial. So with me, I think I'll be able to use synthetic division. So using synthetic division, remember synthetic division only focuses on coefficients. So the coefficients of this polynomial, coefficients of the first guy is 1, coefficient of x squared is 1, coefficient of x is negative 10, coefficient of the x power 0 is 18. This is what we are going to have according to synthetic division. So we are trying to divide this by x minus 1. So from the fact that x minus 1 equal to 0, it means the value of x, when negative 1 goes outside, the value of x is equal to what? 1. So it means in our division, we're not going to use negative 1, but we're going to use negative 1 will go to the other side so that x can be equal to positive 1. So we're going to divide this expression by a positive 1. This is what we're going to use to divide the expression with. So synthetic division focuses on what? Coefficients. So now how do we use the synthetic division in this case? Since this is the first coefficient which we have, this will be brought down there. We'll just bring down the first value to come down there. This is a 1. It's just the same as saying 1 plus 0, which is here. The answer is 1. So whatever value will be in between this row, we'll be adding it to these coefficients. And then the values which are going to be here, we'll be multiplying them with this 1, which is a factor here. So the 1, since we have nothing here, the 1 will just come down. So we're going to have 1 times this 1. So here we are multiplying, but here we are adding. That's the concept of synthetic division. So 1 times 1, the answer is 1. So the 1 comes there on the next column. So the coefficient here on the next column is 1. So 1 plus the 1 we have, the answer I'm going to have is a 2. We continue again the process. This 1 multiplied by the 2, we do the times. 1 times 2, that's a positive 2. It comes there. The vertical we add, negative 10 plus 2. What am I going to have? This is just as good as negative 8. If that is negative 8, am I correct? Yeah, negative 8. 2 minus 10, that's negative 8. 1 times negative 8, this is negative 8. From there, what do we do? Am I correct? 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 Yeah. So 18 so this is negative 8 or 18. This is, let me go back. This is 8. Let's go back to our polynomial. The polynomial is positive 8 here. So I think I've made a mistake here. This is positive 8. The polynomial is positive 8. So let's just change on our synthetic division coefficients here. So this is supposed to be positive 8. So there is no a 1 here. Okay. So when we continue, we are going to have 1 plus 1. The 1 brought down is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 multiplied by 2, we have a positive 2. Negative 10 plus 2, that's negative 8. You continue 1 times negative 8, we have this negative 8. You add again 8 plus negative 8. What do we have? That's a 0. So when we divide the polynomial with that factor, what are we having? What do we have? So when we divide the polynomial x power 3 plus x squared minus 10x plus 8, when this is divided by x minus 3 from the synthetic division, the answers are coming from these values. So the coefficients are 1, 2, and negative 8. So the coefficient is 1, 2, and negative 8. So it means when you are trying to write a polynomial here, you look at your polynomial which you had at first. The highest power is x power 3. So it means the answer cannot be x power 3, should be the degree by 1. The degree should decrease by 1. So if the highest power was 3, it means the answer, which is the coefficient, the highest power should be 2. So it means here I'm going to have x squared. Here I'm going to have x power 1. Here I'm going to have x power 0 in that manner. So it means this will be 1x squared plus 2x power 1 plus negative 8, which is the same as saying minus 8 x. So it means that the coefficient, the quotient which I'm going to have when I divide this divided by its factor, the answers I'm going to have will be x squared plus 2x minus 8. This will be the quotient. So it means that in this case, with the way we've done the division we've done, it means the polynomial which we had here, p of x, which is equals to x power 3 plus x squared minus 10x plus 8, this which we had can be written in terms of its factors by the factor which we had at first was x minus 1. So this factor will be multiplied by the other factor, which is x squared plus 2x minus 8. So it means the first factorized expression we can have, when I factorize this polynomial, I'm going to have this. But you ask yourself, is this polynomial now completely factorized? It is not, because there is this part which is not completely factorized. This is a quadratic, and of which a quadratic expression we are able to factorize it according to how we know how to factorize a quadratic expression. So with a quadratic expression, obviously we can be able to find the product sum factors. So factorizing number, when I'm trying to factorize x squared plus 2x minus 8. Obviously the product here is negative 8, the sum here is positive 2, and the factors here are numbers. When you multiply, they will give you a negative 8, but when you add them, they will give you a 2. So those numbers obviously by default should be 4 and 2, but one of them should be a negative. So I believe this one will be negative. Negative 2 will be negative. So it means when we factorize this expression, we're going to have x squared plus 4x minus 2x minus 8. So that when we factorize this becomes x, open bracket, x plus 4, negative 2, open bracket, x plus 4. So that this will now lead us to x plus 4 and x minus 2. So this will be a complete factorization number. So that by the end of it all number, what are we going to have? We're now going to have the polynomial x power 3 plus x squared minus 10x plus 8. This polynomial will now be equal to the factors which we are going to have will be x minus 1, which was the first factor, and the other two factors will be x plus 4 and x minus 2. This will be now a complete factorization, and you are done. So factorizing that expression, we are using the concept of the rational root theorem and also the concept of the division aspect. So the division of polynomials, as simple as that. Now we are looking at the other part of solving an inequality. So now this time around we want to solve, we are trying to solve the inequality from the same question. We're trying to solve the inequality which says that x power 3 plus x squared is less than 10x minus 8. We want to solve that expression. We want to solve that expression now. We've already factorized number. What is this inequality? What can this, how do you look at this inequality? We can be able to make this inequality just like the polynomial which we are given. This expression, when taken to the left hand side, what am I going to have? I'm going to have x power 3 plus x squared. When 10x crosses, it becomes negative 10x. When negative 8 crosses, it becomes positive 8. So this is less than what? 0. Isn't it the polynomial which was given in the question? This is the same polynomial which was given in the question. This is the same p of x. And p of x, we've already factorized it. This is the factorized version. It means your inequality will be solved without difficulties. So the p of x will not use this one, but will use the factorized expression. That's what we're going to use. And the factorized expression is x minus 1 x plus 4, x minus 2, and this should be less than what? 0. So inequalities, what does it require us to do when it comes to inequalities? Inequalities by default, it means we have to, these are the types of inequality. It means that by default, solving this type of inequality, we have to do some testing. The testing is going to come from a sign table. So in testing these, it means first point is we have to come up with critical points. So we'll solve for critical points. So we'll solve for critical points, which are going to help us come up with the range of values or the which satisfies the less than 0. So solving for critical points means each factor will be equated to 0. So it means x minus 1 equated to 0, x plus 4 equated to 0, and x minus 2 equated to 0. But these are the times where I always emphasize something. Look at your inequality sign. Inequality sign is just less than. It's not less than or equal to. There's a difference between less than and less than or equal to. So this one is just less than. It means the expression on the left hand side is not equal to 0. It's just less than 0. So it means when you are solving for critical points, x minus 1, you even emphasize that x minus 1 should not be what? Should not be 0. X plus 4 should not be 0. And x minus 2 should not be 0. That's the concept we're going to use. So from there, what will be the critical points? It means x will not be 1. Here x will not be negative 4. And here x will not be positive 2. These are the critical points we're going to have. So it means with this help of critical points, we're now trying to test our values. Remember, these are coming from the number line. If this is the number line, which one is the smallest? Obviously negative 4 is somewhere there. I'll have 1 somewhere here, and I'll have 2 somewhere there. So the question is, which interval is going to satisfy this inequality? Is it the interval from here going in this direction? Is it the interval from negative 4 to 1? Or is it the interval from 1 to 2? Or is it from 2 going to the right side direction? These are the intervals we're trying to look for. Which solution is going to be satisfied in that situation? That's what we are looking for. So what is going to help us? You can go ahead and draw your what? Your sign table. Since your expression is already factorized, what you're going to do is you can have a column where you're going to write your factors. The factors, remember, were x minus 1, you had x plus 4, and you had x minus 2. You're just trying to test in your values. So these are the 3 factors, and then the last row will be the overall, and the overall is x minus 1, x plus 4, and x minus 2. It means it's a product of these 3. So you're just going to now arrange the critical points based on the smallest. So the smallest is negative 4, followed by 1, and then followed by 2, and then it continues just like that. So based like on the number line, how are your critical points going to be arranged? So there's a negative 4, 1, 2, and so forth. So it means that this line is more like acting for a boundary of negative infinity, and this line is acting as a boundary for positive infinity. That's what we are saying there. So number, when testing, what is happening? When testing here, with the first column, we choose any number between negative 4 and negative infinity. So you can let x be equals to negative 5. It's just a testing value. You can choose negative 6 as long as it's in between, it's smaller than negative 4. So you can use x equal to negative 10 as long as it's less than negative 4. Here, any number between negative 4 and 1, you can let x be equal to 0. Any number of your choice as long as it's in between. Here you can let x be equals to, between 1 and 2, that's what? 1.5. Any number you can choose for. Then greater than 2, you can let x be equal to what? Equal to 3. So if I choose -5 in here, what answer am I going to have? If there's a -5 here, to be -5 minus 1, it means my answer would be -6. So this is a table where we're just concerned with sign values. So we're just concerned with what is the sign which is going to happen. I'm going to have a -6, it means it's a negative number. If I put -5 here, to be -5 plus 4, 4 minus 5, that's a -1. I'm going to have a negative number. If I put -5 here, -5 minus 2, that's a negative number. If I put 0 here, 0 minus 1, that's a negative number. If I put 0 here, 0 plus 4, that's a positive number. If I put 0 here, 0 minus 2, that's a negative number. 1.5 minus 1, that's positive number. 1.5 plus 4, that's a positive value. 1.5 minus 2, that's a negative value. If I put a 3 there, this is positive. If I put a 3 there, this is positive, and this is positive. Now, you check in the last row. In the last row, it means, can you multiply your outcome in the 3 factor? That's why we have the overall product there. So it means negative to negative, the answer is what? Positive. Positive to negative, the answer is what? Negative solution there. Positive, negative times positive is negative. Negative times negative, the answer is a positive there. So positive times positive, the answer is positive. Positive times negative, the answer I'm going to have a negative. Positive times positive times positive, I'm going to have a positive. So this is where your decision is going to lie from. In the last row, this is where your decision is going to come from. In this last row. So from that last row, ask yourself, remember the inequality says, remember the inequality? The inequality was less than 0. That's what the inequality was. So we need, so we had the inequality which was saying x minus 1, x plus 4, x minus 1, x plus 4, and x minus 2 should be less than what? 0. Okay. So x minus 1, x plus 4, x minus 2 should be less than what? 0. This was the inequality which we have. So in the overall here, the overall is negative, positive, negative, positive. So which sign among these in the overall is indeed less than 0? That's what you ask yourself. Is it true that a negative number is less than 0? Obviously that's true. So it means this is a correct solution. This is a column for the correct solution. Is it true that positive is less than 0? This is a wrong solution. Is it true that negative is less than 0? Yes, it's correct. So it means that from the table which we have, the solution is coming from the first column. And what is the first column? The boundaries are -infinity and -4. And the third column is 1 and 2 being the boundaries. So these are our solutions to the inequality which we are going to have here. So -infinity and -4 are the boundaries, and +1 and 2 are the boundaries in the third column. So that in this solution, or in this inequality, we are going to have x to be a member of -infinity, -4, and the other one is 1, 2. But remember, it wasn't equal to, so the boundaries were not equal to, they are round brackets. And joining these two solutions to show that they are the two solutions which are correct, we'll join them by the union symbol. And these are the solutions for this inequality. As simple as that. So that's a revision question which we solved. So you have to know how to solve the rational root theorem, and you have to know how to go about the polynomial division, how to divide polynomials. At the same time, you have to know how to solve inequality questions involving polynomials. So in this one question, we've highlighted three things: the rational root theorem, we've highlighted polynomial division, that is under syntactic division, and also we've highlighted the concept of inequalities, how to solve inequality involving polynomials. So that's a revision question there. A question you can go with as your homework or a task. You can solve the question which says that factorize the polynomial x power 3 minus 6x squared plus 12x minus 8, and hence solve the inequality which is x power 3 minus 6x squared less than negative 12x plus 8. This is a task you can go with. Thank you very much and have a blessed afternoon. You can send your solutions for marking to that contact via WhatsApp 0964736805. Blessed day.